Okay, so we're on the road to San Diego. We've got an hour and a half drive ahead of us. I figured, you know what? Let's make use of the time and shoot an episode. And what I want to talk about today are kids. One kid in particular. I've got this kid in my class who absolutely cannot put his phone down. And I've spoken with his mother about it, and you know, this is a genuine problem that this kid has, that he just cannot stop looking at the phone. And I'm having a huge issue with this kid, connecting with him to try and get him to do the work, but I can't get through the phone. So Lauren has got an opinion on this.
I have opinions on many things. I mean, which particular part of my opinion do you want to
Okay,
hear?
before I turned the phone on and said, let's shoot a on-the-fly episode, what were you talking about regarding how the kid views the screen? Like, what does he look at it as? What were your words?
There was a study done, I can't recall the name of it, I could probably find it, but children now are basically seeing these devices, iPads, phones, tablet, whatever, as another parent. And the reaction they have when you take that thing away from them is chemically in the brain exactly the same as if you had taken a parent away from them. So, you know, if you love your parents like I did, if you grew up hanging out with your parents and interacting with your parents all the time and not on a device, if I was playing with my dad or my mom and somebody drove up in a black van, opened the door, dragged them inside and drove away, I would be beside myself, distraught.
So you think that's what the kid, you really think that's the level of...
I don't think it. It's science-based. They've done a study and they've watched what happens in the brains of these children. They've watched chemically what happens in their brains when this iPad or device is taken away from them. And it's exactly the same. It's separation anxiety, basically, that you should feel toward a parent or a caregiver. Because instead of, you know, hanging out with your kid, playing with your kid, giving your kid your attention, you give it stuff. Here's an iPad, go away. Stop bothering me, go away. Go entertain yourself, go away.
Okay, so basically, even before that, you referenced something that I've always felt was the truth. I just think you articulated it much better than I did. And I think the access to all of this stuff, whether it be something physical or it you know, a service, whatever it may be, I think the more that is available to you, the more inept you become. And it just makes you less of a performance-based person. Like the example you brought up with the reverse camera in the car.
Yeah.
It's like and I have such an issue with this regarding everything, because when I meet a younger person, whether it be through teaching, whether it be at a show, or it doesn't matter how I come into interacting with this young person, this 20-something person, this teenager who wants to come to me for knowledge, come to me for how do I be a better sculptor, how do I be a better painter, that I have to reset my brain to think that this person has never put tool to clay. They've never put pencil to paper and drawn anything. They've only worked on a computer. So this person is now coming to me saying, here's my work, And you know, they'll either bring prints or they'll, you know, a lot of people will show me on the iPad and say, look, this is my latest piece or whatever. And believe me when I tell you, believe me, some of the work is very good. It's very good. But I can't get my head past the fact that this 18 or 19-year-old kid has never worked with clay. And what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't really know, honestly. I don't work on a computer. I paint. That's what I do most.
Yeah, but see, the reason why I think it's important for you to talk about this, babe, is because you do both. I don't.
I can do both. I don't do either exceptionally well. That's the problem. A lot of these kids will do exceptional work on a computer. I can kind of make it work for the purposes of 3D printing, for the purposes of, you know, scanning existing work of yours and cleaning it up a little bit, taking any overlaps off, making it 3D print ready. Mm-hmm. That I can do. As far as sculpting something from scratch digitally, it's something I've never done. I've never tried it. I don't know how I would do it. So I really can't offer insight into that because I don't know how to do it.
But you do really well with it once I've given you something, or I give you a head form, or you import the thing from the photograph, which is the one that we were just screwing around with the Mario thing.
That doesn't necessarily take skill. That just takes knowing how.
Okay. All right. Let's stay on point. I don't want to get into the discussion of skill versus talent. We'll do that on another show. This is, it's more about the fact that because you're young, you're in your 20s. When I met you, you were 22. You were fluent in that language. I'm archaic. I mean, I'm in my late 50s, and I've never worked in 3D before. I've never sculpted on a computer. And remember when we were at Frank's party and we met the Italian guy, I was introduced to him by Frank Ippolito as the creator of ZBrush. His name was Luigi, I believe.
I think so.
Don't remember his name. Long hair, wonderful guy, really, really beautiful human being. Like, just had an incredible discussion with this guy. And I believe he's an instructor in mud now, or he's teaching or whatever. I asked him straight from the heart. I said, what do you think I should do, in regards to this, or regards to having this problem? And he said, absolutely nothing. Do you remember that? He told me to keep working in clay. So, what would you say you feel more comfortable working in?
I hate working on computers. I can do it. I don't enjoy it. I would much rather have a block of clay or paints or paintbrushes or anything in front of me physically than on a computer. Okay,
so for someone out there, a young person, or it doesn't even matter, a young, most of them are young in my experience, but it doesn't really matter. But for someone who works 3D, that works on a computer at any skill level, good, bad, or indifferent, what would you say? Describe to that person what it's like working in clay. What's the difference? What is it?
I mean, they're entirely different.
So explain it.
You can feel one, for starters. You're not holding it like a pen. And I think a lot of the times people use digital as like a crutch because they don't have a feel for clay. There's a there's a brush for that. I just click that and it does this, and it puts a scale texture on it instead of sculpting scales. I'm not saying that it doesn't look awesome when it's done, but it's a little
absolutely.
lazy.
No, like I said in the beginning, I've seen some incredible work. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of why.
And that's what I mean when I say there is a degree of like, this is a learned set of buttons that if you press them in the right order, everybody can make the same thing.
Okay, so if the kid's mom signs him up for my class and brings him to my studio and wants the kid to be, a better sculptor, okay, why am I encountering an issue when I can't get the kid to put the tablet down and pick up the clay?
Well, you need to dictate that before you begin. This is not a digital class. There will be no devices in this classroom. You will be working in clay. There's the box you put your phone in. Go put your phone in the box. Or your tablet, or whatever little whoopee that you feel you need to have on you. Go put it there.
Okay, so true. I agree 100%. And before I met you, when I was teaching, I used to do that. I would make adults and kids. Exactly what you just said. There was a box when you come. Where we put the outgoing mail in that little tray. Everybody put their phone in there. So, and and of course I'm not. I don't advertise the class as digital or not, especially now because I'm working more on a one-to-one basis with kids. I mean, my preferred class size is 4. I like 4 kids. 3 or 4 is good. But I'm doing more one-on-one instruction now with students. And again, it might be because we live in Orange County and people are more affluent. It's a more affluent neighborhood. It's a more, geographically, it's a space where people don't mind spending a couple $100 in an hour if they could just drop their kid off and, spend an hour at the studio with me, doing whatever. It's what you said about, the parents being their friend as in regards to their parents. And you said something really beautiful, which really resonated with me when you said that your parents, who I now know, and I have gotten to know over the past 5 or 6 years, you said that they raised you, and when you were young, they weren't trying to be your best friend. They were your parents. They were parenting you, and they raised you. And now, as an adult, you are best friends.
Yeah.
And that was really beautiful.
And now I see the results of, how I grew up. And I see so many people my age who are like picky eaters, and they can't be on their own. They can't. And it's like, my parents, I grew up with a very healthy relationship with food. I have a very healthy relationship with alcohol. I don't drink a lot. I can have a couple of drinks, enjoy them, put them down, because it was never demonized. Nothing in my house was ever like, that's bad, don't do that. Obviously hard drugs, because that is bad and you shouldn't do that. Like, don't do meth. But, alcohol, my parents would get home from work, they'd have a beer. And I grew up knowing that that's an okay thing to do. So now I don't feel the need to get obliterated every time I want to drink. I can have a whiskey sour with a nice dinner, enjoy it, and appreciate it, and then not order 12 more. But I think when kids are restricted and banned, and like, if I don't ever let them do it, they'll never do it. And it's like, no, like, you ever keep a dog on a really, really short leash, and then when soon as that leash eventually does break, and it will break, the tighter the leash, the further the dog runs. like, then you're never going to get it back. If you ban, oh, well, he can't have this, he can't have sugar, he can't have this color, he can't have dyes, he can't have this flavor. You know what? A little bit of blue raspberry is not going to kill your kid. Let him have the blue drink once, every now and again, to satisfy that little goblin that lives in my brain that sees blue foods and goes, I need that. I need to consume whatever that is because it's weird. And I have that craving every now and again, like that thing that's at McDonald's right now, that blue Sprite.
Yeah.
I needed it. I tried it. I was like, that's yummy.
Yeah.
I don't drink 12 more.
No.
I don't get one every day.
No.
I was like, oh, cool. Because I don't see that and go, ooh, that's off limits. I was never allowed to have that when I was like, no. If my parents were like, you want to try that? Sure, go for it. Can I try that? Yeah, sure. They'd let me find out if I didn't like it myself.
Yeah, see, I was raised a little differently, in the fact that, you know, certain things were restricted and weren't. And I think as a result of that, that's why Sal is such a different person than I am, because I think, you know, there's 5 years between us, and
that's his brother, by the way, for those listening.
Yes, Salvatore is my brother, the great Salvatore Calora. I think we're so different because my parents saw things that they did, and my mom admitted this to me. She said, you know, there were things that we did with you that your father and I felt that we didn't need to do with Sal, or felt that we shouldn't do with Sal. So again, is it a parenting issue, or is it sometimes, you know, the kid is just a bad kid? You know, I don't know. People tell you, oh, there's no such thing as a bad kid. You know, again, I've taught a lot of kids. I work mostly with young people. And, you know, I've been fortunate. I haven't really encountered anyone that I would call bad. I mean, I've seen people do questionable things, but, you know, I wouldn't necessarily call them bad. I would love to bring traditional sculpture and traditional drawing and painting back into somebody's life, or introduce it to them if they've never done it, because although I don't work digitally, aside from, you know, Photoshop and that kind of stuff, I never got into the 3D thing. There's just something very romantic and tactile about clay and the medium of clay, the art of sculpture. And again, like I said, full disclosure, there is some absolutely jaw-dropping, beautiful work being done digitally, but I can always tell it's digital. I can always look at it and go, yeah, that's digital, or that. Now with AI, which again, we're going to do a whole different episode on AI, but it's becoming more and more, it's becoming increasingly difficult to spot these things. But it's the same thing with film. Like when I was raised on shooting 35 millimeter film. I learned about film, about emulsion. It's another question I get asked all the time about, you know, digital versus film. You will never substitute emulsion, film, developing, like watching film. When you can hold it in your hand and learn how to load your own magazines and things like that, and when you become tactile with the film, it's a very, very different thing. And the easiest way that I can explain it is that when you're holding a 60-pound, 75-pound camera on your shoulder with a 1,000-foot magazine, and you're trying to you're working handheld and you're trying to get your shots. There's something very different about that than just here's the little camera, and you can throw it around, and it's basically like what we're doing now. We're passing the camera back and forth to each other in a car, talking. Like this, what you're watching right now could very well be a film. There have been complete films shot on phones. I know, I've seen them, haven't we?
Yes. Unfortunately.
But yeah, I'm always trying to get people into more of the old school way of doing things. A colored pencil on a piece of Canson paper. I don't care what you say. There's no way that you can compare that to anything digitally. Now and I can speak on that because I have painted digitally. I have worked in Photoshop. I have worked in Painter. I've done 2D artwork on a computer. And there I can tell you that there is such a huge difference between feeling that pencil drag across the paper and you're picking up the tooth, the texture of that paper, or putting down some paint or some matte medium and getting your thumb in there and moving it around, or making a background. There is no way you can compare that to working two-dimensionally, but to working three-dimensionally. But then again, like I said before, and I'll always say it, there's some beautiful work that's been done using both ways. And when you look at the work, you can say, wow, okay, I see what that person's trying to do. It just he took a different road to get there. So speaking of roads, we're on the road, and I don't know, how close are we to San Diego right now?
40 minutes.
We're in a little bit of traffic, but we're going to bail. I just felt like doing that on the spot because we were talking about it and I thought it was a great idea. I don't know if DeJuan thought it was a great idea. Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Sandman out. We are out, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.